Today I wanted to show you Stempad's math block, a super handy tool that makes it easy to write clean, readable math whether you are tackling your homework, taking notes, or just working through an assignment. From basic arithmetic to calculus and beyond, Stempad supports a wide range of expressions and symbols. Let's now open up a new doc on stempad.com and walk through a few examples so you can see the math block in action. I've just opened up a new scratchpad within Stempad.com and we're going to go through a couple of different examples so you can get the hang of how to write your own math equations within Stempad. So the first one that we are attempting is your most basic parentheses, order of operations. Just write this down first, so parentheses and order of operations. So to type out this one, we have to initiate the math block first, so we just hit / on our keyboard. As you can see, it does say type / for blocks or a apostrophe for special characters. So once I put in my / math is the first one that comes up. We can either just click on this or we can put in math and then hit enter and you will see how it says math here. That means we are within the math block. I personally find the interface very intuitive. Let's now go brackets to get the 20. Let's go 20. To get divide, all you have to do is type the word divide and the division sign will come up automatically. Let's go 20 divided by 5. And then to get the times, if you hit X, that's not going to work because it just gives you X in LaTeX notation. So we actually have to do times, T-I-M-E-S, and then as you can see, it's automatically converted into a multiplication symbol. And then we go 2 equals 8. And as you can see, we have typed our first math equation. We probably don't need the spaces, so let's just go ahead and clean this up. And now we are done. So now I've hit enter. Let's now move on to doing something a little bit different. Let's do some fractions. I'll also just bold this so we have some section dividers. Let's now move on into doing some fractions. Let's write down fractions. So fractions is extremely easy to do within Stempad.com, but if you've ever tried to create a fraction within LaTeX itself, it is extremely cumbersome and tedious. With fractions, let's initiate the math block again with a / math and hit enter. And then we just go fraction. I've just typed out FRAC and it's triggered this fraction format for me. Let's now populate the top. We'll go 1, hit tab to get to the next one. Now we're done with our first fraction. We'll hit tab again and then go plus. We can go another fraction automatically. Let's go 1, tab, 4, tab, and this is going to equal 3 over 4. And we are done. As you can see, we've now created our own fraction and that was so simple. Moving on to the next section, let's now go through how to type exponents and powers and all the square root stuff. So I'll make a title for that again, exponents and square roots. So to type out this following equation up on the screen, again, we'll trigger the math block. I'm sure we all know how to do that by now. We go X. This is very intuitive. To get the power of 2, we just have to hit Shift 6 on your keyboard, and then automatically you've got your x squared coming up. We'll now go tab. I'll go plus 2x. I'm just typing this on the keyboard, 2x plus 1, and then equals. I've just hit the brackets, x plus 1, and then to get the tab at the top, let's just go again, Shift 6, and then here, and we are done. Moving on to something a little bit more complex and maybe not as intuitive. Let's do some trigonometry. So again, I'll make a title, trigonometry. There we go. Now again, we'll trigger the math block and let's try to type out sine of 30 equals 1/2. Just write sin and it will automatically change over into sine the function. And then let's go 30. So now that we've typed out sine of 30, to get degrees, all you have to do is type DEG. And as you can see, automatically DEG has been converted into the degree symbol. Let's now tab it across and we'll go equals. We need to trigger the fraction again. And we have 1 over 2. And we are done with our function. Let's try one more of these for fun. We do need to trigger the math block again. Let's do tan. As you can see, it automatically converted again. Tan of 45 degrees equals, I think this equals 1. So let's just go 1. And we have it. We've got our 2 formulas done. And it was super easy. Moving on to something a little bit more complex again, let's now do some calculus. So often we'll be asked to do derivatives and integrals. So again, I'll make a title for that first. Let's go calculus, derivatives, integrals, and limits. The derivative of x squared equals 2x. How are we going to get this? Again, enter the math block. Let's go fraction, d over dx. And then I'm just going to type x hat 2 to get the derivative of x squared. I'll tab it over again, equals 2x. And there we have it. Now let's move on to do this next equation, which we do need to get an integral sign for. I personally do not know how to do an integral sign, so let's just head on over to stempad.com/learn, which is their documentation for almost everything that you can do within the platform. So let's go over to the math block section and try to look for the word integral. We can just search integral, but as you can see, it's already here, and you can basically get this integral expression with purely typing the word int. And for those of you that don't want to switch between tabs to figure out what you should be typing to get a particular math symbol, don't worry, because Stempad have a shortcut down in the bottom right hand of your screen. You'll see 3 icons. Hit the middle one, and this is essentially a quicker way for you to access everything you need. So in our case, we're looking for how to get the integral sign, so why don't we just start by typing out the word integral. And as you can see, it automatically does a search for you and gives you the keyword that you should be typing in, and in our case it is int. So super handy if you don't want to be switching tabs, but I thought I would just show you what the actual stempad.com/learn looks like. So we'll trigger the math block again, and let's just directly type int, and as you can see, it's turned itself into this. We don't need this for now, so we can just delete these because we're purely just doing the integral of x squared, tab, we've got to get the dx there, and we're just going to go equal, we need a fraction, so let's go 1, tab 3 to get 1/3 of x cubed, plus a constant, and just hit plus C, and it's automatically turned itself into math notation. That wasn't too hard at all. So now let's try to replicate the next one, which is a limit function. So let's go inline math again, and I'm just going to do a guess and check and type out the word limit. Aha, there we go. The minute we put it LIM, it's automatically appeared in this format. Let's now change the highlighted box to x. So as x approaches 0, let's now go tabbing across. We want another fraction, so let's get back into the math block, and let's do a fraction, sine x, so sine of x. You can also just click around to edit whichever section you want to edit. Let's just turn this bottom into an x, hit tab, equals 1, and there we have it, super straightforward. So hopefully you see that this wasn't too difficult at all, and in the space of maybe 5 minutes, we have come up with so many different math formulas already. This honestly just makes typing out your math equations so much more straightforward for any assignments that you might be doing. Now let's move on to something else. A couple of Greek letters and set notation that we might often have to write up for our assignments. So again, I'll make a new section. Let's go Greek letters and set notation. Hit enter. Now that we're in the math block, we can easily type out things like alpha, type the word alpha, it's going to become alpha. Let's do beta, again, automatically, gamma, and pi. So super, super straightforward. Moving on, let's try out some set notation. So how are we going to write that x is part of these rational numbers? So again, get back into the math block. We have x, and we want to figure out how to do this is a subset of. So again, let's go back into the math block. Actually, the one that we want is actually the element, \in. So let's try that now. Let's go x backslash, which is shift, which is this one, \in, and as you can see, this has come up with the element symbol, and if I click it, we now have x is an element of, we want to do this rational number r, sorry, it's a real number, we want to do \r to get this r symbol, and let's try that out now, \r, and click on the first one, and we have it. The last math symbol that I want to go through with you is how to type infinity. Again, that's something we come back into the math block to find out. And as you can see, you get to this infinity symbol by typing in infty. So let's go back into here now and let's go infty. And as you can see, it automatically converts into an infinity symbol. So I believe we've now gone through most of the common functions that you would need to get through any kind of college or even high school level math assignment. I hope that this shows you just how straightforward Stempad is to use and how much faster doing this is compared to writing the exact same formulas up in LaTeX. Hopefully this tutorial was simple enough and clear to follow. I highly recommend you all jump into stempad.com and start up a new scratchpad and give it a go because it really is super intuitive. That is all that I have for today's video, and I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye bye.